Well, hello. Happy Thursday, everybody. I am ashamed to admit I didn't get a chance to actually write down any of the reflections from my efforts earlier. So that means that I'm going to just kind of have to remember what I was talking about. What I was thinking about. Sorry, this is what happens when you try to do multiple things at once, and that's okay. That is okay. We're in this together. All right, so we did 8, 9, and 10. So we're going to do 11, 12, and 13. I believe we might do 14. We're just gonna go through and see what we get through today. Because there was a lot of interpretations, and there's a nice little ending note. So let me just kind of double check. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3. Yep. So 11, 12, and 13 is what we're going to cover. Number 11 in chapter 4. What the ancients called a clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels in winning with ease. Verse 12. Hence his victories bring him neither reputation for wisdom nor credit for courage. And then 13 is, he wins his battles by making no mistakes. Making no mistakes is what establishes the certainty of victory, for it means conquering an enemy that is already defeated. I need to take a sip of water. That's the thing, guys. These are all off the cuff. I don't practice. I don't do any cuts beforehand. What you see is unrehearsed in the first take, which I think makes it even better. But anyway, Master Sun. In ancient times, those known as good warriors prevailed when it was easy to prevail. Chow. Find out the subtle points over which it is easy to prevail. Attack what can be overcome. Do not attack what cannot be overcome. I love that insight into Sun Tzu's teachings, because a lot of times when people first start out, they take on more than they can handle. And that is why people say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If you're trying to establish a business or endeavor in a new course, whether that be working out or taking up a new sport, a mixed martial art, etc., you need to start by setting your goals small. You know, if you want to be an early riser and hit it hard and hit the gym early in the morning, and there's that time where you wake up and that pillow is right there and it's so hard to get up. But once you're up, you're like, all right, well, I'm up, let's go, let's hit the weights. And then you get to work, and your boss or your coworkers brought in some donut holes, and they're there and they're free, and it's kind of insulting not to take a couple, donuts or donut holes or whatever they're providing, cupcakes maybe. But you've already won one battle, then you won a second battle, let's win the third battle. So then when night comes and it's like, man, I really, one more episode of The Office, one more episode of Parks and Rec, one more episode. No, I'm going to put it down and I'm going to go read a chapter in my book, because that was a goal. You've won the day. So start by picking low-hanging fruit and winning small battles in order to win the bigger battle of the day, and ultimately win the war on whatever your new challenge or endeavor is. And we're going to get a little bit into what challenges or endeavors to take on in a minute. Dumu interprets that one as, when the strategy of opponents first makes an appearance, you operate secretly in such a way as to be able to attack it. Since the effort used is little and your assurance of victory is done in a subtle way, it is said to be easy to prevail. For me, this is one of those, yes, market research, blah, 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 but that one hits me more in the sense of preparing for life. When we're young, we want to grow up and we want to be something, we want to emulate something, we have goals, we have dreams. You don't start out in 6th grade saying, I'm going to go be an astronaut, and you don't study and operate in such a way that makes that accomplishable. You can't just go and do it by the time you're 17. There might be few and far between, but I think the overall theme here is you need to make sure that you study as much as you can and learn as much as you can about whatever endeavor you're going to take on, whether that be starting a business, introducing a new product to the market, and ultimately finding out if it's even worth it or not. Because there are cases when if you don't decide beforehand whether or not to go forward with it, it can be devastating. You may not be built to be somebody who is meant for marathon running. You might be more built for weightlifting competitions, or vice versa. You might not have the body to be good at weightlifting, but you might be one heck of a distance runner. And so make sure that you are using little effort to assure victory. This is basically boiled down into work smarter and not harder. Something that we don't see a whole heck of a lot of, but people like to say. All right, Zhang Yu. If you are only able to ensure victory after engaging an opponent in armed conflict, that victory is a hard one. If you see the subtle and notice the hidden, breaking through before formation, that victory is an easy one. Again, I like Zhang Yu's is a little bit more straightforward. If you act before thinking and you try to take something on without researching it, say a new diet, maybe your heritage isn't built for that. I don't want to get into that too much, but there's a lot of genetics and diet together, and a lot of things, a lot of working parts that go into overcoming weight loss and losing weight and working out properly. And if you're not doing the right ones for your heritage, it's a wasted effort, and it's going to be harder effort. So work smarter and not harder. All right, Master Sun. Therefore, the victories of good warriors are not noted for cleverness or bravery. Therefore, their victories in battles are not flukes. Their victories are not flukes because they position themselves where they will surely win, prevailing over those who have already lost. So when I did do that, though, without actually writing anything down, though, I did do some highlighting, because both of these hit me really, really hard, and I'll see if I can relay what I was thinking. But Mei Yao Chen, great wisdom is not obvious. Great merit is not advertised. That's the line that I highlighted. When you see the subtle, it is easy to win. What has it to do with bravery or cleverness? I loved it. I love that. That was just so profound to me, because when you read The Art of War and you really internalize it, just like I've done in the past and lost sight of, but one parable, I guess, that always comes back to me is that of King Solomon and the baby, where the true mother is the one who would give up her baby in order to see it live, where he says split the baby in half and give half to each mother, and the false mother is like, okay, fine. great merit not being advertised, I like that part of it in the sense of the most illustrious and accomplished of people sometimes dress in the most ragged of clothes. Not Seneca necessarily, but there is another Stoic who, you know, he basically taught to pick a time frame where you eat meagerly and you eat small meals or whatever, and you dress in the most wretched of clothes, ragged of clothes, coarse of clothes is the words that he used. And you know, while you're doing this, continually ask yourself, is this the state I most feared? Which I think is a good practice, and I don't think a lot of people do it. Is this the condition I so feared? And I think that's just something that, you know, great merit is not advertised. Great wisdom is not obvious. When the people who are strong-headed and bull-headed and try to be the smartest in the room, they're the ones who end up not being so. And it's the quiet ones, you know, the ones working from the quote-unquote shadows. They're the ones that have the great merit. They're the ones who have won and keep winning, and they're not going to show and flaunt any of it. Ho Yong-chi. When trouble is solved before it forms, who calls that clever? When there is victory without battle, who talks about bravery? I highlighted that whole thing. I think that it's just, those are just two very profound realizations from the Art of War. You know, nobody is going to praise you for heading off something before it becomes an issue, for nipping it in the bud, as it were. There's another great quote, you know, the more you sweat in peacetime, the less you bleed in wartime. And that's kind of what this is lending itself to. The more wise you are, the more time you take, just to kind of wrap all of this up that he's been talking about in chapter 4. You know, formation is important. The time that you take to set things up should not be taken lightly. And if you can do something and get those low-hanging fruits and win those battles, and sometimes get things without even lifting a finger, can be profoundly, like, reap humongous rewards in ways that you never thought possible, but you never would have known were even possible if you didn't take the time to step back, analyze the terrain, and make the right call by getting in the formation that needs to be done to conquer accordingly. Zhang Yu. Secret plotting and covert operations seize victory in formlessness. No one hears of the knowledge that assesses opponents and ensures victory. No one sees the success of those who take the flag and assassinate the generals. The way to be able to win without fail is to see when opponents are in vulnerable formation and then disposition your forces to prevail over them. Again, I think that's long, but it wraps up what we've kind of talked about. You know, those who take the time to meditate and reflect and come out when they're ready to take over and take on the battle, those are the people that win. And sometimes they do it without, like, they do it quietly, you know, through assassination. And Li Quan, finally, when the army is old, the soldiers are lazy, and the discipline and command are not unified. This is an opponent that has already lost. You know, maybe old would be like a bad translation, but when you get comfortable, I think this is the big takeaway from that. Like, when you get comfortable, you're no longer disciplined, you're not ready, you're not adaptable, you're not on your toes, as it were. So you've already lost if you're not agile and tactical and strategic about how you approach whatever it is you're about to take on, because it may not even be the right battle to fight. And the last verse. So it is that good warriors take their stand on ground where they cannot lose, and do not overlook conditions that make an opponent prone to defeat. Before even diving in, I mean, that's just, if your opponent has an Achilles heel and you can take advantage of it, and that kind of harkens back to one of the earlier meditations in here that he talks about, you know, don't pass up the low-hanging fruit if things rely on your victory. If you're starving and there's a mango, eat the mango. You know, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Doesn't even have to be good lemonade, but you can make lemonade out of it, and you can drink. Li Kuan, the army that finds its ground flourishes, the army that loses its ground perishes. Here the ground means a place of strategic importance. Postulate that out. That's so good, because the ground in this situation, I mean, he just says straight up, the ground is a metaphor. You know, where are you best positioned for the best strategic performance? What is your target market? What is your niche? Where is your place with what you're trying to do? Dumu, ground where one cannot lose means invincible strategy, and that makes it impossible for opponents to defeat you. Not overlooking conditions that make opponents prone to defeat means spying out the enemy's vulnerabilities, not missing any of them. Tying it back in, you know, spying out the vulnerabilities, making sure that everything that you do is for a reason. You're spying out the vulnerabilities. You're not overlooking anything. Double and triple check the boxes. Measure twice, cut once. All of these colloquialisms are such because they are true. And people have solved the formula before, and they're giving you the silver bullets. They can't physically get in your body and do the work for you, but they can tell you as much as they can about what needs to be done. And that's why that learning from the masters, even the long gone ones, really holds true. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, please like and subscribe. If there was anything that you took away from it, drop it in the comments below. And I'm going to go listen to some Stoic thing, the Tao of Seneca, on my way to my next destination. So we'll hopefully see y'all tomorrow. I'm planning on it. And until next time, friends, have a good day.